Welcome to Most Loved Wrestling, the place where wrestling is most loved. There is currently 18 factions under the WWE banner, but would it shock you to know that only 3 of those factions do not have any female presence? It certainly shocked me. Growing up watching wrestling, that is not how Vince booked factions. This shows the evolution of women's wrestling. They can now just seamlessly come and go into men's storylines the same way they would their own. 15 factions with female talent speaks volumes considering where we're coming from. One of them in Damage Control being all female. But it made me think, families consist of both men and women. They have to. And there is a faction in the WWE which is all about family, the Bloodline. So that begs the question, which female wrestlers in the Anoa'i family tree could join the Bloodline? But before we get into it, I'm gonna need you to put a like on this video, subscribe to my bullshit, and hit the notification bell. It helps with the algorithm. So if you like what I'm doing and believe that the world deserves to bear witness, then this is how you can make it happen. Now, as we know, the Bloodline is having a little bit of a mutiny right now. So it's fair for me to assume that there's going to be 2 groups. We haven't reached that part of the story yet and don't have a full picture. So I used my initiative and I drew a line between the 2 groups. On one side, we've got Roman, Jimmy and Jay the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Paul Heyman. That's who we'll be referring to as the originals. And the other side is Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and the final boss, The Rock. I think that Rikishi will end up being their wise man. 1, because Solo is just doing everything that Roman did, and 2, Rikishi put something out on Twitter. But that's neither here or there for now. This group's going to be referred to as 2.0. And remember this, because as I talk about these ladies, I'm going to be saying which group I think they're best fit to be aligned with. Now I'm going to start with the least likely addition, mainly because they're not even signed with the WWE. The MK twins, or Tonga twins, singly known as Steph and Ashley. These girls, some of you will recognize them from AEW, some of you will recognize them from WOW, that's Women of Wrestling. As far as I know and understand, they are not part of the Anoa'i family tree, but they are trained by Rikishi and they are close to a lot of the family members, so their addition to the Bloodline will be easily explained. The female twin gimmick hasn't been done in the real women's wrestling scene. Real, meaning women's wrestling when it's not just a toilet break, or they're there just to be objectified. So don't even bother coming at me and saying the Bellas. Now of course they're absolute legends, but that doesn't change the fact that women's wrestling was an absolute joke when they ran shit. So there's a lot of stories that could be told, and there's a space for female twins in the WWE right now. But as we're talking about the Tonga twins, is there space for another set of twins in the Bloodline? Only Roman or Solo can currently answer that question. I would say that they need to make some improvements to the in-ring work, but as far as their character goes, they're in the right place. Now, what Bloodline do I think that these ladies would be best suited for? I'd put them in 2.0 because there's a lot of Tongan presence there already. And before I get off them, there would be a brilliant addition to the tag team division. Next candidate after that, Ava Raine, the daughter of the final boss, and she's the GM of NXT. She's not a very good wrestler, granted, and she's got the charisma of a rock. You see what I did there? You see how clever I am? You man could have never come up with that. But in all fairness, her charisma and her mic work, it's not a problem if you're thinking objectively. She can deliver a promo, as long as you don't compare her to her father, who is possibly the greatest mic worker, the greatest promo, the greatest crowd controller in the history of this industry. Sometimes we have to understand not everybody can be CM Punk. But like I said, she's the daughter of one of the most powerful people in the game, one of the most famous people in the world. So no doubt she can join the Bloodline. If The Rock says that she's in, then she is in. Even with her not being that good of a ring worker, she's a lot bigger than the rest of the females on the roster. So her being physical with these ladies is more than believable. And as I said 10 billion times already, she is The Rock's daughter, so I'm putting her in Bloodline 2.0. The next candidate is Tamina. Does she even still wrestle, or is she retired or something? I know she must be like pushing 50 or something like that, but nobody is meaner than Tamina, and she's a veteran. I always thought it was absolutely criminal the way Vince booked her back in the day, and even thinking about it right now is making my blood boil. And no way I'm thinking that she should come back and be some type of world champion. That's past her. But I think it would be a good catalyst to give her a more memorable, respectable run that she deserves. They owe this to her as compensation for times when I was booking her as a punching bag to people like Kelly. Like Ava Raine, Tamina is the daughter of an absolute legend. And that's kind of what the Bloodline is all about. Originally, she debuted alongside the Usos. So I see a world where she would join the Bloodline, the original. The Bloodline, they're always in red and black, but sometimes you gotta add some glow to your attire. Now, Naomi doesn't pass the eye test, but she is part of the Samoan dynasty. She's the wife of Jimmy Uso. I would say that she's the best in-ring worker of all the female bloodline potentials by a wide margin, and clearly she's representing. Former 2-time world champion in the WWE, world champion in TNA, former tag team champion. Bloodline's all about making the family proud. There's no doubt that she's already did that. The only thing about Naomi is she just doesn't have that bloodline attitude. She's way too nice. But when you're the wife of one of the Usos, you've got her talent, her credentials, her accolades. It would be irresponsible for you to not want to acknowledge her and recruit her into your side. The Bloodline 2.0 nearly killed her husband Jimmy Uso. No doubt she was the one that was at home nursing him, because that's what any good wife would do. So it's obvious which bloodline Naomi would side with. She's obviously going to betray her spouse and go to Bloodline 2.0. Alright, put your pitchforks down. I'm clearly fucking with you. She's clearly going to go with the Bloodline originals. This woman right here, Nia Jax, the best pick for any bloodline. It's likely they're already belling off her phone trying to pick her up. She's the current queen of the ring, and she's looking to regain the world's championship in August at SummerSlam. Nia's improvements in her second run in the WWE, that has to be celebrated, and she's even improved her character. People are weird, and they say that she didn't have good matches in her first run in WWE. That is horribly wrong. Go back and rewatch, and try to do it without any bias. Try and be objective. She was putting on good matches back then. The problem was she was fucking people up for real. But thank God, so far, I haven't heard about her hurting anybody this time around. She is solidly in the women's main event scene. The Bloodline are and have always been the main event. She has been booked as a monster heel since her return. The Bloodline has been booked as the big bad of the WWE for the last 4 years. She is 110% the best fit if the Bloodline decided that they wanted to bring in a female presence. She's the daughter of the cousin of The Rock's grandfather, High Chief Peter Maivia, which means that she's The Rock's second cousin. And with Nia Jax being the ultimate villain, she's definitely going to align herself with the Bloodline 2.0. And I think that's all of them. If you know any other women that are closely related to the Bloodline, then let me know. But as of right now, Most Love Wrestling says that Nia Jax is the best fit for Tribal Chief Death. Thank you for listening to my bullshit. Don't forget to leave a like. Remember to subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below.